Okay, so today we're looking at solving using completing the square. Okay, now this usually comes up on the non-calculator paper. So let's just add a little section down here. So let's just write a little sentence. This technique usually comes up on the non-calculator paper. However, we can use it to solve all quadratics. So this technique usually comes up on the non-calculator paper, however you can use it to solve all quadratics. So I'll do one here, get that down. So this here is the completed the square form, isn't it? So here we've got, I'm just going to do one of these questions. So we'll do this as example one. Basically, all we're doing is once we've completed the square, we can actually solve this like a normal equation. Okay, but there's one key difference with this, and that's when you've got to do the square root. So, example one. Now, you probably won't come up like this, although I have seen them come up like this before. So, I've got x minus 4 all squared minus 11 is equal to 0. So the sentence, this technique usually comes up on the non-calculator paper, however we can use it to solve all quadratics. Okay, so if I'm solving this like a normal equation, then I just basically work backwards. So the first thing I would do is I would get rid of the 11 by adding 11 and adding 11. So I end up with x minus 4 all squared is equal to 11. Then when we do this, we've got to do the inverse. Now the inverse of squaring is square root, but we have to be careful. And we have spoke about this before. What is the square root of 9? Okay, what is the square root of 9? And we did the thing where we threw it up in the air and we caught it. The square root of 9 isn't 3. The square root of 9 is plus or minus 3. So what we need to do is we actually use the plus or minus symbol, like this. Because the square root of 9 is plus or minus 3. Because 3 times by 3 is 9. But also, negative 3 times negative 3 is also 9 as well. So when I'm doing here, the square root of this, and this is probably the new part. So if I'm doing the square root and the square root of this, we know the square root of this is going to be x minus 4 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 11. And then the last little part is I need to get rid of this 4. So add 4, add 4. So the way that I write this is x is equal to 4 plus or minus the square root of 11, like so. And that there is actually two numbers. So it's 4 plus root 11 and 4 minus root 11. Now, on the non-calculator, this is how you'd leave the two solutions, one like this and one like this. Now, I've just spotted that this actually says give your solution to correct to 2 decimal places. So with this one here, we do actually need to work it out. So I'm going to work out what both of these are. Now this doesn't actually come up very regularly. 4 plus root 11 is equal to 7.3. So we've got one solution, which is, we wanted to 2 decimal places, didn't we? X is equal to 7.32. 7.32. And the other solution is this, but minus this. Now, it's not always the case that it's exactly the same. So just be careful with that. Well, I think it will be actually for these, but 0.68 for this. So X is equal to 0.68 there. So there's your second solution. Just check that. Brilliant. All right, have a little go at that question on the right-hand side. Have a little go at that question on the right-hand side. All right, let's have a little look at it then. So, we're just solving this like a normal equation, but when we're square rooting, we need to do the plus and minus. That is the biggest difference. So the first thing I need to do is to add the 5. So it's going to be x plus 3 all squared is equal to 5. Then I need to square root. So x plus 3 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 5. Then I need to take away the 3. So I end up with x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus the square root of 5. So I end up with two solutions. X is equal to negative 3 plus root 5, and x is equal to negative 3 minus root 5, and I put those into my calculator. As I said, that you'd probably leave it like that on a non-calculator. So minus 3 minus root 5 is equal to minus 5.23. Let's get that down. So if people forget that was minus, so x is equal to minus 5.24, sorry, rounded. Let's just check that. Yeah, good. And then this is going to be the positive version of this, so just be careful with your positives and negatives. It's minus 3 plus root 5, which is equal to minus 0.76. X is equal to negative 0.76, like so. Brilliant. Good. So there's our first two questions. Let's have a go now at this one here. Now this is a very common question, okay? Usually comes up on the non-calculator paper. This is example 2. This is more like what will come up. This would be on paper 2 for OCR, paper 1 for Edexcel. Solve the following equation by completing the square. Now they might not tell you about completing the square. The trick is to see this here. And we know to use completing the square when we see this. So let's write down our equation first of all. X squared plus 8x plus 2 is equal to 0. So the first thing I need to do is to do that complete the square method, don't I? So I halve the middle number and add it to x in a square bracket. So it's going to be x plus 4 all squared. And then I square that number inside it and subtract that. So minus 16 plus 2 is equal to 0. I then write this out. So x plus 4 all squared minus 14 is equal to nothing, 0. And then I solve it like a normal equation. So x plus 4 all squared is equal to 14. Then I square root both sides, remember plus or minus. So x plus 4 is equal to plus or minus root 14. And then the last little stage is to minus that 4. So x is equal to negative 4 plus or minus the square root of 14. So in which case, a is equal to the negative 4. And the b, which is inside the root, is equal to 14. So I'll just give you a second to get that down. You can see we're using both techniques now. We're basically taking our complete the square method and pushing it forward, okay? Give you a second to get that down. Alright, so let's have a go at, I'll tell you what, I'll do one more. And then I'll let you have a little go at one yourself. So I'll do one more. So I'll do this one on the left. You can call this example 3 if you want. So x squared plus 4x plus 1 is equal to 0. So I halve that middle number, x plus 2 all squared, and then subtract the square of that, so minus 4 plus 1 is equal to 0. So x plus 2 all squared minus 3 is equal to 0. Take the 3 over. X plus 2 all squared is equal to 3. Square root the 3, so x plus 2 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3. And then take that 2 over. So x is equal to minus 2 plus or minus the square root of 3. There, like so. So have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. Have a little go at that one on the right-hand side. Alright, so I'm going to have a little go at this one on the right hand side. So here we've got x squared plus 6x plus 1 is equal to 0. So let's complete the square first. So x plus 3 all squared minus the square inside. So minus 9 plus 1 is equal to 0. So x plus 3 all squared minus 8 is equal to 0. Take the 8 over to the other side. So x plus 3 all squared is equal to 8. Square root it. X plus 3 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 8. So then take the 3 over, so x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus root 8, there, like so. Brilliant. Just check that. Yeah, there we go. Alright. So if you're catching up at home, have a go at these questions now. So if you're catching up at home, have a go at these questions now. And if you're catching up with home, there's the answers to those.